Happy Sunday, everybody. Yes, it's Sunday. It's been a heavy week for myself. Yes, it was my birthday. Festivities have been going since Wednesday up until literally an hour ago. So here I am to finish it off with you guys. That's right, we're wrapping it up. Welcome to episode 28 of the weekly comic wrap up. We've got a very special guest tonight. That's right. We will blame this man for everything I've done on YouTube. Everything, every single thing. But before we get into any of, our stuff with our special guests, let's talk about what's up and coming, because that's right. Next Sunday, guys, Miss Bird City is going to be hopping on, and she's actually going to be on the final episode for 2023. Yes, that's right, because following that, we've got Christmas Eve on a Sunday, we've got New Year's Eve on a Sunday. So, I mean, holidays, family comes first, guys, but that doesn't mean there won't be some extra content to make up for that. So I will be dropping a lot of pre-records for you guys, and hey, might do a surprise live show, so keep an eye out for that. It's the holidays. That's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say. So enough about me, enough about the channel. Let's talk about this man who is sitting backstage. And yes, if I threw him his flowers. I gave him his flowers the first time he came around. I think it was on episode 2, right? So he hasn't been back since. Yes, he hasn't been back since. This is his first comeback, and we've shared a lot of time together over on the Comic Kingpins. But tonight, we will talk about other stuff when it comes to Hyper. And if you guys are wondering the thumbnail, exactly what that is, that's Sagat, Street Fighter. That's right. Hyper Combo Comics is a big Street Fighter fan, and I came to learn he's a huge fan of Sagat. He's even got a poster of him behind him normally when he streams. Look.
Yeah, just oh shit. Did my
was the books?
Okay, luckily it's in a top holder.
Yeah. That's right. The book is okay, guys. Hyper is okay, and that's all that matters. And of course, he's ready to join us. So, Hyper, what is going on?
Yeah, that was a stressful moment in my live streaming career, I guess you could say. You do not know the stress when you're putting up a grill, not a grill, like a key book, and it just slams to the floor. And luckily, yeah, the top loader did save it. I actually did verify it. Otherwise, we would have probably had to shut that whole stream down.
Oh, dude, there's no doubt. You took your time to analyze the book as it fell down, but it was
yeah, dude, it was a moment of crisis, man. It's like
it was hilarious, man.
I could laugh about it right now because, like I said, things went okay. But yeah,
but Hyper, you've been up to some cool things, man. You've been hopping on other channels, whether it was Nearing Nirvana, who ironically we were just talking about Miss Bird City hopping on next week, but they're hanging out with Spine Ticks, of course, and the Comic Kingpins on Mondays. But you've also got your own channel.
Yeah, man. It's kind of hard for. I mean, people might not know it because I haven't really been posting anything new lately. But yeah, I actually do have my own YouTube channel. I was on somewhat of a momentum, and then things kind of hit a bit of a wall for the last few weeks because, dude, as a content creator, you know how, especially when you're doing pre-recorded videos, 6 minutes videos like is what you see, but then the editing and all that, honestly, and I'm the type of guy that I don't want to put like shit content out there. So honestly, I think I overanalyze. So then it ends up taking too much time, and then that's my excuse why nothing's being put on my channel yet.
It doesn't matter. I know you're putting up some gaming stuff too, right? So you've been going heavy on Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. You put out the video of Omni-Man, right? That was the most recent one, and I just picked up Street Fighter because I spoiled myself.
Street Fighter?
Not Street Fighter. Sorry, Mortal Kombat. I picked up Mortal Kombat. I will pick up Street Fighter. I promise. I just got the PlayStation 5 this week, so I'm like catching up on gaming here. So give me a break. But now that I actually played the game, I actually understand what you were talking about when it comes to the DLCs and so forth. But great video. Everybody should be checking that out.
Thank you.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into the show. Before we do, we got to say hi to the chat. Of course, there's people here waiting, and of course, our brother Michael Baker is here at number 1, baby. Yeah, he's hanging out in the chat, and it is a family reunion tonight. That's exactly it. Is it really a reunion though? Because I feel like we see each other almost once every 2 weeks in the last few months. It's been happening.
It's a reunion of public display.
Fair, fair. I mean, anyone who has caught us together in public, I feel bad for them, but here we are a
Yeah.
little more tame, so that's good. Newbie Comics in the house, my brother Noob, him too, man. I miss him. He's got some content I know he's gonna be working on in the new year.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Whenever I miss Nubia, I always just
Oh
whisper it
yeah.
out. I always,
Why do you have that so near you?
dude, it's like my comfort card. It's like whenever things go awry, I always look at this and just remind myself things can always be worse.
Beautiful, of course. But we got Comics Embrace swinging by, saying hi to everybody. Comics Embraced, thank you for coming to hang out with myself and, of course, Hyper. We got Wesley's Comics, who, dude, Wesley's been, busy. Look at him. He's the guy's watching us while studying. Dude, focus on the books. Don't worry about us. Catch the replay. But we got Paul in the 619, my brother, bro. How's it going? Yeah, man. Paul hit me up. Apparently, he's going to be, planning to come to Canada in around, early next year.
Yeah,
Thinking of visiting us. Poor guy. Poor guy.
Definitely, he's got to hit us up.
Yeah, but that's definitely going to be a good time. We've got Ronnie and Rascal Superdog, the new great show on Sundays. Yes, I appreciate that, brother, and thank you for hanging out with us. We got Cliff, my handsome Italian Canadian, my brother. Thank you so much. Recently won, dude, the CBCAs, man. Kingpin's won. He won Council of Comics. Everybody's doing their thing, crushing great content.
Congrats.
So everybody here in the chat, go show Cliff some love, subscribe, and yeah, man, check him out. You got TK. Yes, happy birthday, buddy. I'm off this week from work. Yes, TK is Tony. Tony is a good friend of mine at work, and I'm gonna miss you this week, bro. So still,
I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah, sorry, Tony. You better be messaging me. Spine Ticks. Yes, man. Wasabi, bro. Appreciate you, Sith, my brother. Had a great show again last night. I ended up catching some of the replay again in the morning because I was out again. I know, birthday festivities, weddings. I always have an excuse, but
BC, I know, like you sometimes say that I'm the one that kind of brought you onto YouTube. I have to give my props to this guy as well. He's the one that brought me onto YouTube, so you can blame him.
Yes,
the shitty content that I post.
So everything ties back to Sith, no matter what.
Yes.
He's the Grandmaster, but Lefteros Comics in the house. Yes, guys, stick around. We're going to go through some of the FOC picks in just a little bit and definitely go check out Lefteros. But we've got Cali Comics. What's up? What's up? Yo, dude, Cali Comics doing some great things, man. And of course, Tony Sanders, right? The Hunt, stuff like that. Definitely go check it out.
Always a fun time.
Yeah, 100%. But definitely go support. Chia Pets in the house, plus our What of Review show with Anthony starting up. Yes, the What If is what he's implying.
Okay.
What If is going to be coming out very shortly around the holiday season. So we're going to be going through some of that. Echo's dropping in a month, which I'm hearing good things. So far.
Reviews are already out for Echo?
Yeah, dude. Some people are saying that the early screenings are looking pretty promising. So
okay.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, that's our Hyper. Dropping content every so often. The love of my life, my wife is in the house, man. She spoiled me last night, man. She took me to a restaurant, and then she's
I was gonna say when.
No, dude. Okay, look.
I'm like, how?
Chat. Time out.
Just a conversation backstage.
No. It's not one of those conversations. Well, we could make it, but I won't. Regardless, she took me out, man, to a restaurant. We ate like pigs, dude. And then she's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, honestly, I want to go to an arcade. Like, I haven't done that in so long, right? Like, just be a kid, dude. I want to be a kid. So I turned 34 and I said, screw it. I'm going to be a kid. And we spent a lot at the arcades, man.
Which arcade?
So there's one not too far from our place in Laval. But yeah, man, super, super fun time. Nice. Tiger Knee, baby. He knows what's up. But Paperweight, man, my brother. Yes, Paperweight's back finally on Instagram. I know he was only gone for like a week, but it felt so empty without him. So
clearly, he only misses one of us.
Yeah, only one. But appreciate you, bro. JF's in the house. JF, man, appreciate you hanging out with myself and Hyper tonight. Who else we got here? Oh, stop it! No idea who this is. Slightly. No, I'm kidding. I know exactly who this is. But yes. We meet again, 1000%. Welcome to 2023 Black Round. Yes, DLCs, dude. It's nuts. Absolutely terrible.
It's the norm now, yeah.
Yeah, it just takes your money. Pay to play. Who else we got here? We got 23 Monch. What's going on, man? Appreciate you swinging by, brother. Tim's in the house. Tim, our brother. Dude, I met Tim through Comic Kingpins. And Tim is such a nice, awesome dude.
One of the
Definitely go
best.
check him out on Instagram as well. I think we got almost everyone. Yeah, 34. What a great year.
I see Audi Russell.
Yeah, turn 34. You still are a kid. Stop, man. I am trying to avoid my 40s. Yes, Audi Russell's in the house, man. Appreciate you, Audi. Audi was actually the big winner at the 250 subscriber giveaway. So
I
just
remember that name.
like I said, there's going to be maybe a live pop-up show during the holiday season. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah, Derek's in the house. Derek, appreciate you being here with us. But all right, Hyper, it's time for us to get into the show. There's the FOC picks of the week we're going to discuss right out the gate. But before we do, you know what I'm going to ask you, right? Are you ready?
Not really.
Not really. Oh,
No, I'm
okay.
just kidding. Just go.
Either way, too bad. All right, so FOC picks of the week. Now this week, I want to say it's a pretty interesting one, man. There's one book that actually completely surprised me. But before we get into any of that fun stuff, definitely go check out Comic Nation. And by visiting their website, Comic Nation US, you can enter the discount code BlackRound for an additional 5% off of your pre-orders. So that would total your FOC pre-order to 20% off.
Dope.
Go give them some love, go show some love, and let's look at some of these books put together by Left Arrows.
Before we continue, BC, I just want to preface, listen, as some most know probably, I'm not really up on new comic book day. I don't really pre-order much on Wednesdays. So that being said, I feel like I'm the most qualified person to comment on this segment. So let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. It's not, dude, don't even worry about it. Let's just enjoy. Cali Comics just turned 40 this year. It's not a big deal. I know. Okay. Well, I'm starting to like embrace that. Well, birthdays don't matter for me anymore at this point. Uncanny Swag. Yes. Swag's in the house. Another brother from Spine Tick showing some love. Appreciate you being here. But all right, let's get into the books. So the first one is Black Panther number 6. This is actually the second print, not Prince. But first appearance and cover of King Mteli. Now, this is a character I mentioned a few times in the last 2 weeks or so. Pretty interesting. I thought the character was all right. Now here you've got him on a cover in the second print on his first appearance issue. Pretty worthy of a pickup, in my opinion. I don't know if people are going to go too crazy on this. I feel like not a lot of people are on Black Panther at the moment.
Yeah, let's kick this off with a bang and say I'm not reading Black Panther, but I gotta say this cover is, it is very striking. And listen, Black Panther has to ask for consent before he does stuff like this.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just want to shout out Jules. Yeah, my brother Jules for being in the house, and of course,
Nice,
Nemesis
Jules.
Prime. I've never seen these guys at the same place at once.
I know.
So
It's
very interesting, very interesting. But that being said, Black Panther 6, I agree with Chia Pet saying this is a slow burn, but it's picking up steam. It really is, man. Like, I would say as of issue 5, it started to get interesting. So if you guys aren't reading, I think now is probably a decent time to be hopping on. But besides that, we've actually got Catwoman 61. This is the cover C, which is a pretty nice cover by In-Hyuk Lee. Dude, I feel like every week I'm seeing Catwoman covers or Poison Ivy. It's like these are pure cover grabs, right?
okay. So I saw this because you showed me some of these pics before the show. I saw this book. Everything is great, but there's something about the face I can't really put my finger. I don't know if it's the pointy chin or I don't know. There's something a bit. I don't know, just the way I've seen In-Hyuk Lee do better faces for Catwoman. So it almost feels like it's like, I don't know, like a slender dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but I do think it's a nice cover, man. And like I said, I've been seeing a lot of these Catwoman books or Poison Ivy books making, lists. I think it's a nice one, but I don't think I'm going out of my way to pick it up. That's just my 2 cents. But if you all like it, why not? Another one that I think is the big one on FOC, I put it up there as one of, but Cobra Commander number 1. And if anyone's reading the Energon universe, I think you're really anticipating this arrival. This is looking great, looking promising. New miniseries about the origin of Cobra in the Energon universe. So it's a no-brainer for myself. Definitely picking this one up.
All right, then you're gonna have to tell me all about it. it listen, I'm not a Joe fan, but it is I do know Joshua Williamson, so if he's behind this series, then it should be a good one because I know that he did the Flash from New 52. Was it New 52 or Rebirth? He did the Flash series there, and he's done other work in DC. So yeah, I'm a fan of Joshua Williamson, so this could be a good read.
Yeah, I'm hyped about it. Now, there's actually a 1 in 100, I believe. And again, it's another one of those spoiler variants. So definitely keep an eye out. Don't know how that's going to do on the secondary market. We all saw how that went with Void Rivals.
Right.
Transformers 1 did pretty well, but I'm not too sure what exactly the spoilers are going to be here. So keep an eye out for that and we'll see. But definitely pumped to see Cobra Commander now making his way as well. So this is going to be a fun read. Looking
It, it's
forward.
it's always risky when you're doing a spoiler variant for a high ratio because it's one thing when it's open order because you're not taking much of a gamble, but when you're like, especially when your shop has to pre-order like a
Yeah.
1 in 100, and you're not, you don't even know what the cover is until close to release date, you are taking a bit of a roll of the dice with these 1 in 100 squibs. So
Yep. No, 100%. And Michael Baker saying there's also a 1 in 250 David Mack, just like with Duke. So there you go. And those are connecting, sir. So yeah,
oh no.
yeah, looking forward to that. Energon Universe is awesome so far. Nemesis saying, "Who's your guest? He knows nothing about comics. Maybe a video game channel." We'll get into some video game talks because there's been some cool information this week that took place. So, moving on, we got Daredevil 5 main cover right here, and solicitation states that this issue will feature the debut of an all new villain. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm since Zdarsky's been off of Daredevil. I'm having a hard time on this one. I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, and the thing is, okay, I'm just gonna ask. Like, I've read the Zdarsky run and all that, but what real Daredevil villain has? I know that Vigil before kind of got some heat,
Yeah,
but other than that, there hasn't really been many new Daredevil villains that have actually, struck with the mainstream audience and all that. So I mean, if you're buying the book as a spec in terms of new villain, I don't know, but I mean, in terms of a story, that's a different case because
yeah,
um, Solid
yeah,
Ahmed is a solid writer. And I gotta say, this is one of Ramita's better covers that I've seen lately.
yeah. As of late, they've been mostly stinkers.
Okay, I guess Paul doesn't agree with me.
Paul is in absolutely zero agreement with you, sir. But yeah, it is. I'll say it's one of the better ones. Is it the
Yeah.
best? Absolutely not. It's not ship level, but it's pretty okay. I'm giving a little more time on Daredevil. So yeah, like I said, it's been a slow one for me. It's not really been as interesting at all, to be honest. But one that has piqued some of my interest here is Punisher. And Punisher issue number 3, solicitation states Joe Garrison's true enemy may be revealed. So looking forward to this. I think it's a neat cover as well for the main cover, and I'm totally on board with the new Punisher. Although I will say issue number 1, and out the gate, it kind of felt exactly copy paste of Frank Castle, right? Like I really thought we were going to be getting a new character that was going to give us a little more flavor, but it's way too along the line. So I'm looking to see how this character develops and progresses. But it's got my attention.
Yeah, I was actually gonna. I was curious on your take on this one because I didn't want to commit to the series until maybe like the first arc was done, just to see how that goes. Because I am a Punisher fan, but just I don't. I'm kind of iffy when they start kind of using new characters to kind of take the helm of an original IP like Punisher in this
Yeah,
case. So if you're telling me it's solid, I'll probably wait until maybe like the first arc is done to see
yeah,
how. And I know that David proposed he did a lot of good stuff on the indie side. I don't know if he did many stuff in Marvel.
yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna take a wait and see approach, and I'll hear opinions from you and others in terms
There
of
you go.
how it is as a read.
So far, so good. That I will say. It's been pretty decent. But moving on from this, we've got Star Wars Thrawn Alliances number 1. This is the comic book adaptation of Thrawn Alliances. Now, I'm not too familiar with all the Star Wars stuff, but I will say this is a very neat cover. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. The as far as covers go, I dig it. Rod Reese, I that name sounds familiar. But yeah, as a Thrawn cover, it's pretty dope. I'm guessing being it is a Marvel book, I might take a guess that there's probably going to be a 1 in 100 version. I would think of this.
So there are ratios of this particular book. Yes, 100%. I don't remember if there's a 1 in 100, but yeah, there are. I wouldn't be surprised if there is going to be a version of this one.
Yeah, because this one I think could benefit from a virgin. Now, if it's a 1 in 100, that's a different story. But I feel like this kind of cover you would want to have it in the virgin instead of having that trade dress over it. But
Yes. Luckily, Left Arrows does cover extra selections on Cover Price's website, so definitely go check it out. But one of the books he does mention here is Superman #7, and this one has the origin of Marilyn Moon Knight, who, if I'm not mistaken, made her first appearance in issue 1 or 2. It was somewhere around there. I remember reading it. Pretty interesting character. I like the design, but I'm not fully on board with the new Superman read, to be honest.
interesting cover. I guess my first question is who is Marilyn Moon Knight? But
Yeah.
uh,
Well, we will get you up to speed, sir. Don't you worry.
thank you, thank you. Well, yeah, we're off to a great start with this whole FOC pick.
Don't worry about it, man. Hey, not everybody's up onto the new comic book day stuff,
Hey,
but
at least I'm forthcoming with it. I'm not gonna BS you guys and throw out all these BS
yeah,
facts that I'm pretending like I'm reading them.
yeah. But again, if you're into the whole Marilyn Moon Knight character, I think it's not a bad pickup, especially if you want to know more about this character, which I am kind of intrigued. So I will be giving this one a read. But the one that surprised me right here, and like I said, if you guys are not already, you should be following Left Arrows Comics on Instagram, but definitely check out Cover Price. On their website, he writes a more extended article with more pics. And this one here, dude, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Amazing Spider-Man 252, there's a facsimile that is now available, right? And I
Okay.
think they even have the foil, but they're actually putting out a 1 in 25 incentive of this one. And it's insane because here you've got this symbiote Spider-Man hidden gem variant depiction by Charles Vess. And I've seen one sale so far already on eBay on a pre-sale take place at $80 Canadian. I think it was 84
For this cover?
for this particular cover. So I don't know if that was some, shimmy stuff. I don't know what's going on, but that's one sale so far. That's all I've seen. So let's see. But I do think it's, interesting to see a facsimile get a ratio. That's odd, I guess. But yeah, this exists, sir.
Listen, this cover is decent. I don't know if I would pay 1 in 20. I don't even know if I'd pay ratio for this.
Yeah.
And Charles Vess, I mean, we've seen his work in Web of Spider-Man 1, and he's also done some ASM covers in the past. I would not have picked this to be a Charles Vess cover.
Derek is spot on. It never fails with the birds on his covers. Never fails.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
even in Web of Spider-Man, there was birds. Yep.
Yep.
I guess that's one of Charles Vess's hallmarks. But yeah,
Yep.
that surprises me that it's actually going for 80.
Yep. Yeah. One sale, 84 Canadian. So there you go. But guys, those were the FOC picks
thank
by
goodness.
Left Arrows Comics. Yes, of course. And definitely support Left Arrows by following Comic Nation. And you can go visit their website, Comic Nation US, to get your orders in on some of these books we spoke about. And make sure you use discount code Black Crown to get an additional 5% off, where you will total your discount to 20%. And of course, go visit Cover Price's website, where you can get a more in-depth take by Left Arrows on the FOC picks of the week, as well as new comic book day. And he's even on the weekly shakers. So keep an eye out for that and go show some love. Hyper, not bad.
That was painful.
It was not painful. Come on, you're too hard on yourself, bro. Too hard on yourself. I do agree with Sith, though. If this was the new Popeyes menu, I think you'd be telling us all about it. In and out. Total calories.
We would be shutting down StreamYard at that point.
Yeah, but we have a lot to go over when it comes to market stuff, dude. There's a lot of books that we're going to be going over tonight. So let's get into it. Hyper, I feel like this one you might be a little more ready. So are you ready?
I'm a little more ready.
Let's do it. I say this every week, how it's my favorite part of the show, but it really is, man. Sometimes seeing some of these books sell on the secondary market is mind-blowing. But of course, keeping an eye out on CBSI's list, Cover Price, eBay, Go Collect, Key Collector, you name it. Even Brian McClay, baby, he puts together some awesome lists going. But shout out to Brian, man. Hopefully I'll be hopping on very soon. I'll be hopping on very soon. Yeah, but yeah, man. So let's get into it. We're going to go through some of these books that made a splash on the secondary market. Now, this one right here, yeah, some love for the little guy, man. Avengers 181, first appearance of Scott Lang. A raw copy sold for $100 US, dude. And VF fair market value is $21 US, coming in at number 9 on cover price. $100 US. It's pretty coin. It's a pretty coin.
That's insane to me. I mean, considering this, I mean, this book clearly has been around for a while. I mean, generally, when it comes to a first appearance of the individual before the actual when they embody the actual his alter ego, they don't really go for that much. Even like, I mean, yeah, first appearance of Eddie Brock, I've seen it for around that much, but like for Scott Lang, first appearance, I honestly didn't think like. Do we even know what spurred this on?
To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure, but I know that there has been some. I don't know if it was the book that came out or whatever it was, but something's got people back to buying this because a few copies sold. It's not just one copy. This is on a high sale, right? The $100 one.
Yeah, yeah. I would be more curious to see if this sale continues to be consistent, or if it's one of those one-off spikes or something, because I don't see this book sustaining 100 USD like at least in the long term. So I'd be curious to see the actual trajectory of this book.
Yep. Well, I will say it is a nice book to own for sure. I
Hmm.
think having the first appearance of Scott Lang is awesome. Of course, you definitely want to get that first appearance with him, as Ant-Man with Cassie Lang's first appearance as
Right.
well. But I thought it was pretty interesting to see a raw copy go for 100 US because correct me if I'm wrong. You have this book, no?
I don't. I have the other one that you were talking about. I forgot what issue. It's that Marvel Premiere one where
Yep.
it's actually Scott Lang as Ant-Man and first
Yep.
appearance of Cassie Lang. That one I think I have two copies. This one I actually don't have, but
Yep.
I'm not paying 100 USD for it. Like I'd be more inclined to be paying that $25 that you mentioned on the VF site, maybe.
Yep. So basically, and I'm just gonna read right through what Cover Price said about this. The character was all over the internet last week as the most recent Marvel film, The Marvels, was released, and fans are ready to compare everything Marvel has released in this phase. And Rudd gave an interview detailing his diet to embody the character. Despite years of comic fans ignoring this key, its sudden trend this week of those same fans opting to secure a copy of the first appearance of Scott Lang. So yeah, I guess some ties. I don't know what it is that really tied it, but pretty interesting to see.
It's just to me it's even more bizarre because he's already been in the MCU. It's not like a character that we're seeing for the first time. He's been in already a couple of movies in the MCU. So if it's an MCU rumor that's spawning this, that's even more strange to me because we've already
Yep,
seen Scott Lang.
yep, it is. But that's where this one is. So let's look at some other books. This one right here, I think you might have some love for this.
Mm-hmm.
Uncanny X-Men 239. This is the first cover appearance of Mr. Sinister, which is, in my opinion, I wish this was 238. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. I like that cover with Wolverine, and I believe it's Havoc on it. But CGC 98 of this one right here sold for 185 US dollars. Came in at number 7 on cover price, man. What's your thoughts?
I'm telling you, if X-Men 221 had this cover on it, I feel that book.
221. I'm sorry, I said 238.
Oh yeah,
221.
if that book had this cover on it, that book would be a lot higher on the FFB. I think that's what hurt his first appearance because he's not on the cover. It's a dope Mr. Sinister cover, and it is his first cover appearance. Like it mentions. I do have two copies, like you mentioned. I have the newsstand and the direct. The newsstand does go for a bit more of a premium because this is also during the 90s when
Yep.
newsstands were a lot. The ratio between newsstand and directs were disproportionate more towards direct. I mean,
Yep.
and look, with X-Men talks swirling a lot more, and with Wolverine coming into Deadpool 3 and all that,
There's
mutant
also
talks.
the cartoon X-Men 97 that's gonna be dropping real soon.
Exactly. So there's going to be a lot more, you know, what do you call it, water cooler talk about X-Men and all that. So books like this that people may have seen in the back bins and all that that they may not have paid attention to. You're going to see a lot of these kind of books kind of have some heat on them. So
Yep.
185 for 98, it's a bit rich for me because again, this is more of a cover a book more than anything. Uh,
Yeah.
I would wait because there's no shortage of supplies on this book.
Exactly. Totally agree. And I'm totally with Sam, man, saying one of my favorite covers. I think it's absolutely beautiful, man. I do wish this was his first appearance. But all right, man, moving on from this one, here's a cool, interesting cover that's kind of got some love recently. this is a recent release, Captain Marvel issue number 2. You got the first cover appearance of Yuan Yang, and what's interesting is that raw copies are going for $20 Canadian, and it came in at number 14 on cover price. Now, we saw her first appearance within issue 1. First of all, I think this is a beautiful cover. I forget how to pronounce the name of the artist. It's Swaby or something like that,
Yeah,
but
Josh Swaby.
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's absolutely gorgeous. The story though is a bit strange because, well, it's not that it's strange. It really much ties to what's happening within the MCU. She's got the negabands, kind of like when they use the powers, they switch over. So they're pretty much mimicking exactly what's taking place right now with the Marvels. So that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those books that's like, yeah, it's hot right off the gate. You know, Swaby killed it on this cover. Now, the future of this book is really going to depend on the direction that this character is, taken in the Captain Marvel series. So if she becomes a complete bust, then I think this probably will just land in the $20 to $15 range. Now, if the character becomes a big hit, then this is going to be that book that people are going to chase after even more. So
Yeah.
really, it's. I mean, if you got this at cover price and all that during New Comic Book Day, then you're golden. But I don't know if I'd be gambling on an unproven character just yet.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you, Pet here. Yep. Lots to talk about this cover before it even came out, and lots of love towards it. I managed to secure myself, I think, about two copies or three
Nice.
copies. Very beautiful. But yeah, number 14 on cover price. Now, I figure you might have some extra love for this one here. I mean, two of your favorite things, in my opinion. But Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid saga continues number 3. This is the 1 in 10 ratio NES homage variant. There's only 398s on the CGC census. It was a cover price shaker this week, and CGC 98 sold for 300 US dollars. I think this is awesome. This book recently dropped, I think it was in 2019, somewhere around there.
Yeah, right before
And
COVID.
yeah, exactly, man. And it's neat because it's pretty much exactly what the video game was, right? With the Karate Kid and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I think it's a very well done homage cover.
Yeah, listen, you're not lying. I've been kind of low key looking out for these Cobra Kai 1 in 10s, and even though it's only a 1 in 10, these books are ghosts. I was only able to secure a 1 in 10 of issue number 1 at an auction, but these other later issues, shops weren't ordering even 10 copies of Cobra Kai back then, so you're not going to see a lot of these floating online.
Nope.
And yeah, this definitely hits the nostalgic feels and all that. And I'm hoping this is one of those cases that my LCS doesn't know what they have on hand, and I can get this cheap in a collection pickup that down the line or something, because for the life of me, I can't find this at a decent price.
Yep. Sweep the leg, baby. But it's funny because you say that, but we all know that one of our LCSs, they just sleep every time you're there. Right? That seems to be the case.
And I ain't gonna wake them up.
Exactly. Don't. But yeah, man, I think this is a very, very good buy. 300 US in a CGC 98. There's only 398s on the CGC census. So
Yeah.
shout out and congrats to whoever picked up a copy. Now, moving on from this, we actually have Hellboy, Box Full of Evil. This is issue number 1 of 2. That's right. First appearance of Lobster Johnson. Now, I have no idea. But again, this has
Yeah.
only 598s on the CGC census. Cover price shaker, and dude, this sold for 649 US dollars. I know a lot of people have love for Hellboy, a lot of hopes that we see Hellboy brought back, maybe in a better light, if that makes any sense, because I know a lot of people are disappointed with some of the movies, but somebody thought this was a good buy, and they spent 649 US dollars on it.
This book hurts even more than the Cobra Kai book, because I believe I actually had this book in a collection pickup. I'm not really a big Hellboy guy, so I may have actually sold this, and let me tell you, I didn't sell this for anything close to a 650
49.
price. I don't think my copy was a 98, so at least that's somewhat of a consolation. But I do believe I actually had this book at one point in my possession that I may have already let go.
Damn. Well, do you think it was a 98 candidate?
It wasn't. It wasn't. That, like I said, that's the only consolation I have that makes me sleep better at night about this book.
Yeah, Kelly's saying, the first two movies were solid gold. So I'm satisfied as a fan. I agree, dude. I actually really enjoyed the first two. I remember watching the first one when I was in like high school.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, just to give you an idea of how
I haven't
bad.
seen the new one with what's his name, the guy from Stranger Things. I haven't seen
Yeah,
David what Archer. What's
yeah. I know exactly who you're speaking about, but yeah, no, I actually haven't seen it at all either. But yeah, so let's move on from this. We're gonna talk some Thunderbolt stuff because yes, Incredible Hulk 449 made a little bit of a splash here on a newsstand copy. Look at this, dude! First appearance of the Thunderbolts. Ironically, none of these characters are. It doesn't seem they're going that route at all when it comes to the Thunderbolts within the MCU. But regardless, a newsstand copy in a CGC 98 sold for $2,900 US, dude. Cover price shaker this week.
dude? This listen. I get it. Like this is more in the like mid '90s, so newsstands were a lot more harder to find than direct. But for all intents and purposes, 2,900 for the difference in that barcode, that's just too much
Yeah,
coin, especially because look, Thunderbolts have not come to the MCU. They are announced. Yes, we are getting the Thunderbolts, but you don't know how that team's going to pan out. And I'm kind of surprised we're still getting sales like this, given the late track record of new characters introduced into the MCU that haven't panned out
yeah,
as well as people would have anticipated. So this kind of shocks me that, especially during these economical times, you're getting a sale of 2,900 for a 9.8 newsstand for an unproven entity in the MCU.
yeah,
And it's a team appearance. That's the other thing. It's not they're not like the Avengers. All right, it's Thunderbolts. They're a more modern team. I always get weary when we get first appearance of teams getting banked on rather than the actual characters. So
yeah.
this is just a risky buy all around.
100%, man, 100%. And like I said, ironically, it's not even the characters we're going to be seeing within the MCU, but regardless,
Mhm.
that newsstand does see some premium. So, Derek, yes, I saw your comment. If you have one, might be time, buddy. That's some serious coin right there. Who else we got? We got Dagger, who actually just stopped by. Man, Dagger, appreciate you being here with myself and Hyper. Much love, brother. Now, moving on from this, we've got Spider Man Noir. Yes, there's been some news, which we will talk about a little later on, but Spider Man Noir, number one, having the first appearance of Spider Man Noir, CGC 98 sold for 781 Canadian dollars on December 2nd, 2023. Number one on CBSI's list. And I will tell you that, yes, this is a high end sale, right? So
Mhm.
781 Canadian is what I came across on eBay, but I was seeing a lot of copies around the $650 Canadian range. So not too sure. Maybe somebody got competitive when it came to, making sure they secured a copy, but there was a high sale at 781. Most copies going for 650. I know there's also the other cover.
Yeah, the variant it doesn't go for as much.
Yeah, maybe within the $200 to $300 range, which
Yeah.
I'm okay with some of those variants, man. I don't mind. Like, although I think this is the book when it comes to Spider-Man Noir, it's still a neat book to own, regardless. Having the first appearance of Spider-Man Noir, if you're a fan, and I will tell you, I do dig Spider-Man Noir. A lot of the other Noir characters don't get as much love. I mean, we've seen so many other titles, right? Like Wolverine Noir and stuff like that. But Spider-Man Noir being the, I guess, character to come out of that noir phase. 781. That's some pretty heavy coin. 650 even. I think it's up there.
Yeah, well, I mean, the name already says it's Spider-Man War. I mean, it's predominantly a black cover, so those kind of copies, I can imagine. I didn't look at the census on this, but I can imagine that 9.8s aren't that plentiful for this kind of book. So I could see this book for that reason alone catching a bit more of a premium than your typical modern first appearance. And it's kind of funny because I know you mentioned like the other noir characters haven't caught on, but I think that's just also because this is the character that kicked off the same way like Ultimate Spider-Man kicked off the Ultimate Universe, and you see Ultimate Spider-Man's first appearance going for a lot more than Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate, Iron Man, and all the other offshoots. So I
Yeah,
think it's just because he kicked the originator always is going to go more than the actual, you know, successors after.
for sure, for sure. Who was it? It was Callie asking about the blue. To be honest, I've not really seen any blue on this cover, but maybe I totally missed it. Could be. So
Yeah, I'm kind of yeah.
yeah. But all right, another book, man. Doctor Who number one. That's right. If you have Disney Plus, you would have seen that there's been like 3 episodes that have come out. I think it's marking the I want to say the 30th or 35th anniversary. I forget exactly what it is, but the CGC 98 sold for $97.43 US, came in at number 8 on CBSI, number 12 on cover price, and yes, Doctor Who came out through Marvel, and I had no idea Marvel put out a Doctor Who book. I'll be honest with you,
Mhm.
totally. Dude, I was blindsided.
Wait, so is this his actual first appearance in comics?
Nope, this is not his first appearance within comics. He
Okay,
had
I was gonna
appeared
say because
prior.
$98 seems pretty cheap for a 9.8.
Yeah, no, that is relatively that's very cheap if it was his first
Yeah.
appearance. Let me, but no, and not the case. Not his first appearance. That's why there's no information there. Um, but yeah, like I said, I didn't even know Marvel did any Doctor Who, so very interesting to see this one make its way on the list. This was news to me, so and I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan, so I think it goes without saying as to why I may have totally not known.
Yeah, I couldn't keep track of the different variants of Doctor Who. I know one of them played Purple Man and Jessica Jones. That's as much as I know about Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Um, Listen, it's a cool look. If you are a Doctor Who fan, I don't see how 98 paying $98 for a 9.8 can hurt. So
yeah.
it's not a bad price for a high end grade.
Yeah, and Chiapet's saying that people are loving the show. Now, I did watch some of the original Doctor Who stuff and so forth, but like anything that just dropped now, I've totally not watched anything. Not the biggest Doctor Who fan, but regardless, some people are, and I do think picking up this book in a CGC 98 for $97 is relatively cheap.
Hmm.
Yeah. Not sure Venom's in the house. Can't stay too long. I know, dude. You're a new dad, man. So you are definitely on dad duty, doing your thing. But the fact you even had an
I got you.
opportunity to swing by and say hi means the world. So thank you. Agree with Hyper. Looks cheap, man. Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that the entire show.
What? Somebody agree with you?
Yeah, I almost feel like celebrating.
Yeah, you should. Let's have a victory lap. But all right, let's move on from Doctor Who, bro. Now, this one, dude, it's nuts, eh? What like the slightest rumors can do, or photos, leaks, and so forth. But recently there was a photo that leaked where we saw someone holding someone's head. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil too much in case some people are dodging spoilers. But that being said, the first appearance of Sabretooth, Victor Creed, in Iron Fist issue 14 sold for 928 Canadian dollars in a CGC 98, which is still not bad. I think that's pretty cool.
Dude,
Um,
yeah.
but Key Collectors trending 20 list, it made a splash, and I have seen a lot of copies selling just because of that. So, thoughts?
Okay, let's just put this in perspective on a previous book you just showed.
Yep.
Newsstand Thunderbolts, first Thunderbolts sold for 2,900 USD.
Yep.
A 9.8 of this timeless Bronze Age character
Yep.
sold for a little less than 1,000 Canadian. Canadian. So that
Canadian.
means it's
Yep.
about 750 US.
Yep.
Think about that in perspective.
Yep.
I don't get this market sometimes. Like, how the hell is this book significantly cheaper than the first Thunderbolt like last sale? It's and I get it. Listen, Newsstand Thunderbolts probably is lower copy, but I don't give a shit.
Yep.
This is criminally underpriced when you compare it relatively to some of these modern books. So 928 Canadian for a 9.8 feels like a bargain to me.
And I'm happy you actually compared the two. Again, collect what you like. No one's gonna tell you what to collect, but the fact that exactly this, a big staple characters in a CGC 98, nonetheless. This is not a 9.0. This is not a beat the shit copy. This is a 9.8 copy selling at $928. And like you said, those newsstands, yes, might be a lot more scarce when it comes to such books as Incredible Hulk 449, but to see this go for much cheaper, it is mind blowing. But nonetheless, I think this is a good buy. I don't think it's bad. You know what I mean? I think it's fair
And,
for.
and I didn't want to address Chia Pet's comment because I know that this sometimes hurts certain characters about the whole villains. Keep in mind, this is one of the apex villains in the X-Men lore. We're not
Yeah,
talking about first appearance of Purple Man or first appearance
yeah,
of Bushmaster. Sabretooth, like
yeah,
Wolverine's arch nemesis,
yeah,
who's been he's been like the thorn on Wolverine's side. So I put him like at a different tier in terms of villain status. So
yeah.
yeah, again, and plus it's a Bronze Age book, dude. It's just mind boggling.
Yep. Dude, I agree with you 100%. But like I said, a little leak of a photo caused this book to sell a lot more frequently than it has as of late. That's all. So a few copies have been selling. CGC 98 at $928. Not a bad buy. But all right, this right here, especially speaking with somebody who's very much into video games, The Last of Us: American Dreams issue number one. There's only apparently 6,000 plus copies that were ordered by retailers. This was actually, I believe, the prequel to the game, right? This shed some light prior to the
Yeah,
game arriving, and a raw near mint copy sold on December 5th, 2023, at 180 US dollars. Again, key collector trending 20 list. There was a lot of buzz when season one was making its way, right? A lot of
right.
people flocked to this. There was the variants. Everybody was going bananas, spending crazy money. But to see now where we're at, season one's done. We got news on season two. That's pretty much what's causing this book to sell again. But 180 US dollars, not too bad. I mean, it did explode a lot higher.
It did. It did.
Yeah,
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it was almost twice that price when during season one when episodes were getting critical acclaim from reviewers. Because now the thing is, I'm not gonna go as far as to say this is the next Walking Dead because I think that's a totally different animal. Because Walking Dead
yeah,
had a much lower print run, and then also it was an unexpected success.
yeah,
The Last of Us, we already knew it was going to be a good show just based on the fact that the game storyline was stellar to begin with. It's always weird when I see trends like this because I think most of us that watched the show knew that a season two was coming.
100%.
So I don't know why it's catching people off guard that a season two just got greenlit. I figured it was a given, to be honest.
Yeah,
This is one of those cases where I would wait until the news kind of dies down and just catch it on the cheap end.
yeah. No, I agree with you. And like you said, it was a given, especially I mean, the video game's a two-parter, right? And there's a lot more that unfolds in the second game.
Hmm.
So, yeah, there's a lot more story to be told, and very sad as well. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, when I see that title, I think of The Last of Us as in the real humans that are still fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, just go to a Black Friday sale.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man, gear up saying 100, buddy. Yes, appreciate you coming to hang out with us tonight. But we got 27 strong in the chat. So guys, hit the like, subscribe, definitely, shout out to all of you hanging out for with us. But we've got some other books to talk about, and we're gonna stick on the video game train because look at this sale, baby. Legend of Zelda, issue number 3. There's only 17 9/8 on the CGC census, and a CGC 9/8 sold for $1,901.68 Canadian on December 6th, 2023. This was Key Collector's Hot 10 Runners Up list. Dude, I love me some Zelda. I love me Zelda books. Zelda got a lot of love, even at the Video Game Awards as of late,
Yeah.
but definitely got equally as much love on the secondary market with this sale.
Listen, I love Zelda too, but like if that's how much a 9.8's going for, I'll settle for like a 9.0 or like
Yeah,
an 8.5 at that point. I think I do have this book in a raw form. That's insane. But again, these Valiant books, I think they were a bit more of that the cardstock cover. So getting a 9.8 of those is actually a lot tougher than you may believe, even though this book was released in the 90s. Um, damn, that's I mean, only 17 on the census, so it is pretty low pop.
yeah,
But look, I think people are realizing that video game books, because of generally their low inherent supply, they do fetch for more of a premium. And even though this is a middle of the road issue in the Zelda series, you're seeing proof in the pudding.
yep, exactly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this also went on for a later printing. So
Yes, all
oh,
the issues had like
yeah,
a reprint, I
reprint.
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So there are those as well, but first prints right here definitely, with 17 on the census, that's some pretty intense coin for this
yeah,
one. Yep.
yeah.
And again, Sabretooth.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we're going back to that.
We won't compare. We won't compare. But Gear Up saying he thinks he has one somewhere. Definitely go dig it up if you do. Dan saying I'm with Hyper. Some of those 9.0s are still pretty, but more importantly, much more affordable. Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
the price disparity between just a few grade points. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, I know Baker. It's blasphemy. Anything but a 9.8.
Yeah, 9-8 or bust for Baker,
Yeah.
man. But speaking Baker, we've got some Baker shakers in the house, baby, and we got a Batman 423. Yeah, of course, Todd McFarlane greatness. I'm not going to speak any further on this book. I think it's one of his best covers of all time. CGC 9.8 sold for $2,799 US dollars, dude. December 6th, 2023. Michael Baker sent me the direct link to this one on eBay, and it sold. I hope they paid. But geez, this is heavy coin.
It's a timeless McFarlane cover, and we've seen those time and time again. And this is one of those books that's never gonna it's always gonna stand the test of time. Now, really, the price tag is really gonna depend on your fandom of A McFarlane and B just these kind of covers. Like personally, I wouldn't spend that much for a 9.8. Um, but look again, going back, I'm gonna keep dogging on that Thunderbolts book. I'd rather pay 2,800 for this 9.8 than a Thunderbolts first appearance.
Yeah,
But and congrats Gears up on that.
yeah, man.
I'm sure he did his pressing magic to get that to a 9.8.
Oh, he's one of the best pressers in the
Yeah.
game, guys. If you need your books pressed or clean, definitely hit up Gear Up, man. The guy's got one of the best. Comic Book Corner, definitely check it out. But one thing I do want to say though about this book is like it's insane, but there's several hundreds of copies in a 9.8 on the
Right.
census. I think there's like about like 500 something, somewhere
In
around
a
there.
9.8, really?
Yeah, like
I didn't
it's
expect
not.
it to be that high.
No, it's up there, dude. I was looking at the census and I'm like, holy cow. Okay, so
Wow,
there's quite a few. So
interesting.
yeah, but again, I imagine that yes, there's quite a few. I don't know if people are really rotating this as much, right? I figure most people want to hang on to this one. It's in my opinion, it's one of Todd McFarlane's best covers. I put it up there as the best.
And this is the thing when you start getting into the grading aspect of comics. It's like what I find is like what kind of hurts first appearances sometimes is the cover is trash sometimes. Like I'll give you an example. Um, like first appearance of Mr. Sinister. The cover's not trash, but I mean he's not on it, so it kind of I think hurts
Yeah,
that But a book like this, people would want to get it slapped and get it in a 9.8. So when you have timeless covers, even if the guts of the book might not have much of a significance, when you get into the whole grading game, there's different criterias when people would be willing to spend a 9.8,
yeah.
grade. And this book, I guess, would fall in one of those.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now here, I'm actually pulling up the census as we speak. So just to give you guys the exact number, in 9.8s, there's okay more than that. No, sorry. Okay, I was wrong. I was looking at the 9.6s. So the 9.8s, there's 279
Okay,
9.8s.
that sounds a bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still 279 out there in 9.8s. That's universal, but signature series, there's another 92. So that means
What's the total census though?
so the total census is at 4,877 in all grades, 372 9.8s that include both blue label, yellow label signatures,
So
right?
you
So
know what? You know what? In that case, the 2,800, I can see, yeah, because at that point you're talking about a little less than 10% of the total census pop. So yeah, with those kind of numbers, yeah, I can see it fetching for that much coin. Then yeah, it makes sense now.
yep, Canada pride, baby. That's right. But yep, Gear Up is a magician in pressing and cleaning. I can't stress it enough, guys. If
He's
you're
done
in
wonders for
Canada,
me.
even if you're in the States, feel free to hit him up and send your books because he does do some crazy magic on books. But
I can
speaking,
vouch.
yeah, man, speaking of magic, the Star Wars magic, baby. Issue number 1, part 1 of Star Wars: A New Hope movie adaptation. Do it at CGC 9.8 for this one. Sold on December 5th, 2023, for 3,150 US dollars. And yes, it is a Baker Shaker, baby.
Yeah. Again, see these kind of like okay, here's the thing. I think because you showed me the Thunderbolt book early on, these prices seem a lot more reasonable, even though they might. I don't like. I haven't really been comparing the value of a Star Wars one, but again, looking back at a 2,800 Thunderbolts one versus this, there's no comparison in my opinion.
Yeah,
Dude, Star Wars is not going away. Even if
no.
even if you get different iterations of Star Wars, these are the OG characters, their first appearances. So this will always be a timeless book. And that black cover, I'm sure, is a pain in the ass to get in a 9.8. So Yeah, this is one of those books that if you're a fan and you had this in a 9.8, you'd probably be holding on to it.
At 100%, yes, I definitely would be. I know that some people here in the chat have it. I know that Chiapet himself said that he got this as a gift from his brother
Nice.
back in the day. So I think that is a nice gesture. But to see this price, absolutely nuts, dude. But that's the market stuff. We have a lot of hot topics to discuss, man. And some of the hot topics, man, it might be a little spicy, guys, slightly even controversial. So I'm curious to see what some of the chat here is going to say tonight because, yes, some good things have been, well, some interesting things took place. Yes, even within just the comic community itself, right? A little interesting video went a little viral. So we'll talk about that as well. But I don't want to spoil too much. We're gonna get into the hot topics. Hyper, for the last time tonight, I'm gonna ask you. I want to hear it, bro. Are you ready?
This time I am ready.
All right, let's do it. That energy, my friend. We need to work on it. More Popeyes. But anyways, hot topics of the week. Like I said, some very interesting things that are going to be discussed here tonight. But first and foremost, I think this was awesome because Ryan Reynolds, with hilarious troll response to leaks, right? There's been some trolling that he's been doing on his end, which I thought was epic because yes, let me move that logo. So many things have been leaking, right, when it comes to the set of Deadpool 3 and so forth. So this was his response, right? You've got all this nonsense that he posted, which was hilarious. You got the money bag, you got Mickey, you have so many things happening, and of course he didn't stop there. He continued dropping stuff. You got Steve Urkel literally right there, on the left hand side picture. And then on the right hand side, he's talking about this guy over there, Wally, lower the cue cards, which is pretty funny. So little fun things that Ryan Reynolds did, right? Typical Ryan Reynolds trolling because yes, he is aware of the leaks that are happening, but on a more serious note from Ryan Reynolds, and I thought this was pretty interesting. So, um, surprises are part of the magic of theatrical movies. It's important for us to shoot the new Deadpool film in real, natural environments using practical effects, as opposed to making the movie indoors and digitally. Telephoto lenses continue to spoil surprises and create a difficult situation for everyone. Here's hoping some of the websites and social channels holding back showing images before they're ready. The film is built for audience joy, and our highest hope is to preserve as much of that magic as possible for the finished film and the big screen. Part of the reason people post spoilers is because they're excited. I realize these aren't real world issues, and it's firmly in the good problems bucket. I love making this movie. So I thought it was, interesting. Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan Reynolds. And he, did his little trolling and so forth with the photos, which was fun. But, this little message here, I think you got to show some love. You know what I mean? The guy is
Mm.
just saying, like, we're out here shooting, in the open, looking for that natural environment feel. And, unfortunately, this is happening. So it's kind of like, I know this is a good problem, but can we kind of like tone it down type thing, right? So, um, well, first off, what's your thoughts on the whole situation? Because it is getting crazy. I think Deadpool 3, by the time it even drops, everyone's gonna have already seen all the leaks, right?
It's unfortunate because yeah, like I was kind of privy to the leaks, and it was a case where I wasn't even looking for the leaks. It just happened to kind of hit my feed. So it's one of those cases where it's almost like you kind of have to now be in complete darkness with social media sometimes to kind of still have that surprise. And look, as someone who wants to be, genuinely surprised at the cinema, it sucks when you see things like this. Like, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil what was actually shown, but imagine if we actually went in not knowing what we know. And again, this is assuming that what we saw actually does come to fruition. Again, I'm talking very vaguely, not to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember actually remember when we actually went to go see Multiverse of Madness
Yep. We
and
knew
how
the whole fucking movie.
I didn't. You and
I
Pacino did. And then, so the thing
yeah,
is, like, I'm watching as the X-Men get rolled out, and I'm like, oh shoot, genuinely surprised. And then I see you and Pacino just looking at me as if you guys like saw it coming.
yeah.
So it sucks. I mean, lately, again with the whole social media, it's very hard to be genuinely surprised. I find more so than 2 decades ago or like a decade ago. I kind of wish we went back to that. Like, dude, you're a wrestling fan.
Yep.
You know about dirt sheets and all that, how things leak a lot
Yep.
more. So it was nice when that CM Punk return happened, and I had no idea. I know you had an idea, but I had no idea. So it was nice. It was a nice change of pace when you can actually get genuine surprises.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. I was aware that CM Punk was going to be returning, but just in general, back to the whole surprise element, I think it is being completely taken away from um, the movies and the experience because back when the MCU had just dropped, I was not there was no Instagram. At least not to my knowledge, I wasn't using it. Mine,
Mm.
I think, the real applications we were using back in our day was what, like MySpace and like
What is that other chat? ICQ or something? I
yeah,
forgot.
yeah, like we're labeling ourselves here, but
Yeah.
all this to say, the surprise element is really diminished. I don't, and I don't want to blame it on what we're doing. You know what I mean? And what I mean by what we're doing is YouTube and stuff like that. Like, forget, following other comic lovers. We follow a lot of most of the people here in the chat. You know what I mean? I follow you all on Instagram. I see what you post. You see what I post and stuff like that. But when I go online, it's not even just those people. It's literally the big ones, right? You can have comicbook.com, you could have Screen Rant, you could have all these people. It's an immediate spoiler. And it's like, I just open Instagram and it's like bang. It's like I didn't want to see that. Here I am. I'm opening up Instagram, and Reed Richards is in that multiverse of madness, and look at him, spaghetti fight. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Well,
So yeah, go ahead.
sorry, because I just wanted to stick to your point that you just mentioned about those website you mentioned. I think it also has something to do with the fact that with a lot more news outlets coming out, like with the advent of internet and all that, I just find that it's also a case of who wants to be there first in terms of the influence. Some people, even if it's at the detriment of the actual audience, they want to be that first news site to kind of drop that bomb, right? So I think that also kind of plays into why you're seeing a lot more spoilers because they want those clicks, and you're getting stuff like this.
Yeah, but all that to say, that surprise element is gone. Like
Yeah.
literally, I kind of did it to myself, so I'm totally to blame. But the Marvels, there was the entire script leak, and I read that almost 9 months prior to the movie even dropping. And when I
Mhm.
read it, well, everything held exactly to what I read, and I was like, well, that surprise element is gone. I'm not going to go in depth about what takes place within the movie, but just to show you that it is gone. Now, when it comes to, yeah, exactly. So, hated seeing that Deadpool holding Sabretooth's head, didn't want to see it, love Sabretooth. Whether you love Sabretooth or not, whether, you want to watch this movie, you want to have that surprise factor, right? You want to watch and, just enjoy the film.
Yeah.
More and more I'm finding myself shying away from checking out social media and stuff like that, because I will say the enjoyment of movies has been taken away, simply because I am being spoiled for most of it. So
Mhm.
that being said, props to Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. I love the fact he trolled, and I missed one. Yes, the Predator one was fucking hilarious. But this was him trolling, and then I think what he said was in all fairness. So um, shout out to him.
Yeah, much respect to
Yeah.
Reynolds on that.
But all right, moving on from this. Yes, the Video Game Awards took place, and Hyper, you are the most fitting guest to talk about video games with, and we'll get through it very quickly. But Marvel Spider Man 2 won no categories at the Game Awards despite receiving 7 nominations. That's right, the game has been one of the highest reviewed of the year, but it won nothing. And it was up against some big ones, right? There was the Boulder, it was Boulder 3.
Yeah.
Dude, latest Zelda game.
Tears of the
There was,
Kingdom. Yeah.
yeah, there was
Starfield. Yeah.
so many big games that
Yeah.
were announced, but of course, this one we know you're not gonna let go, right, Hyper? Yeah. Best fighting video game. The debate is over. Street Fighter 6 was the winner. Yes, it even beat Mortal Kombat 1. But back to this, I'm surprised because 7 nominations. There were some good categories here. I really thought it was gonna win. I'm currently playing it right now, and it is absolutely incredible. But the fact that people are up in arms about the game, it spoke volumes. But another game that was announced at the awards was Blade, dude. Blade is a big one. I think this surprised a lot of people, dude. I had no idea this was even in development. Did you?
I had no idea. I heard about the Wolverine game being in development. I didn't realize that we even had a Blade. I mean, now the
Yeah,
question is which is going to come out first, the movie or the game?
yeah, 100% going to be the video game. But so apparently Arcane and Bethesda, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but they're in the process of developing this game. And I thought the little trailer was neat, right? You see him in the barber shop getting shaved, things start to unfold. But yeah, man, looks like we're getting a Blade video game. I hope it's along the lines of what Spider-Man is. I hope they put that much love into the Blade series, but this is pretty fucking cool.
Dude, the fact that Bethesda is actually behind this actually gives me a lot of hope for this video game because for those that don't know, Bethesda did the Fallout series, Wolfenstein. They did a lot of classic games, and I think they may have even done Skyrim. I think Bethesda probably, yeah, I think they did do Skyrim as well. So they did a lot of those open world games, and and they were pretty damn good at it. So if
Yeah,
they're behind this project, and I believe this is their first time ever doing a Marvel game, so I actually have high hopes. Just the fact, just based on who's actually behind this project.
same. Same, man. I'm so pumped for this, but yeah, Blade, movie or video game? Which one makes it first?
That's the question because, like I said, like that's always like that running joke at this point. With it's almost become a meme.
Yep,
It feels like with the MCU Blade movie. Like when are we actually gonna get it? And the
yep,
fact that now the game is also announced, now it's like a neck and neck. Who's gonna come first?
yep,
Pause.
exactly. But all right, enough video game talk. We're gonna get back into some Spider-Man Noir news. This is what I was talking about. So, Amazon's Spider-Man Noir series hires Stephen Lightfoot. Now, if you don't know who he is, well, he actually did the Punisher series on Netflix. So there was that. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even know Spider-Man Noir was making its way to Amazon. This was
I heard of this news actually prior. Yeah.
rumblings, but I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, okay, we'll see. Almost kind of like one of the no hope type thing.
Hmm.
But here it's looking like we're getting some traction now. You know, I was a big fan of the Punisher. I really enjoyed the series, especially. Well, I mean, they could have done a bit better with Jigsaw. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I did like the whole Ferris wheel stuff.
Hmm. That was a nice scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. But that's pretty promising. I mean, now we're starting to see some traction here when it comes to Spider-Man Noir, and the big question is Nicolas Cage going to take on the role? I think that's something that I see a lot of people asking, and Nicolas Cage did a great job when it comes to Spider-Man Noir within the Spider-Verse movies, but how do you think he would translate, in live action? I don't know if it would fit.
How old is Nicolas Cage at this point?
I'm sure he's up there, dude. He's got to be at least in his 50s.
Okay, I was gonna peg him for close to 60, but
Yeah,
because he's been around for a while, I feel in films. It's one thing. Listen, it's one thing to be the voice actor behind a character. It's another thing to actually be the on-screen character where you actually have to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, but then again, he's gonna be in a complete mask anyways the whole time. So
yeah. He's
he could.
59.
Okay, I mean, he could probably pull it off, and with the magic of stunt doubles and all that, I could see it working. Look,
Yeah,
this might be an unpopular belief, but I actually dug the first Ghost Rider movie that he did. Like it was one of those I kind of put it in the category of guilty pleasure movies.
yeah.
The one with Eva Mendes. So I was okay with
You,
that.
you just like the movie because of Eva Mendes. Don't lie, man.
Well,
Don't
I
lie.
mean that's I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna fault myself for that.
No, absolutely not. I'm with you. But like I said, we got some traction here, so it's looking fun, man. Spider-Man Noir making its way to Amazon. Stephen Lightfoot, looking cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this develop. I hope we get some more information soon.
And I think
Uh,
Silk is also supposed to go on Amazon Prime as well, right? That series.
yeah, they were talking about Silk, man.
Yeah. So a
We'll,
couple of spider characters maybe will be hitting the Amazon Prime airwaves.
yeah, we shall see. But here's the big topic of the week, man. A lot of people have been talking about this. Now, I do want to shed some light on it, but I want to see some of the chat engagement. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. But if you haven't yet, definitely go check out the Comic Book Palace on YouTube. putting out some great content. I had no idea exactly who they were, to be honest, prior to this video making a circulation, and now, I'm checking out what they do. They do some very cool episodes, and I dig them. I dig them. Now, many people have been talking about this situation. There was Swagahaz. Thoro was talking about it. Brother Thoro was on last week. And I encourage everybody to go check out their videos as well, man. Thoro did a great, you know, video on this one, and so did Swagahaz. Swagahaz broke it down fantastically. I think he did a great breakdown video. But Glenn from Comic Palace speaks on today's writers. Now, what he said was relatively interesting. And of course, guys, full love to Comic Book Palace. I'm going to show you guys exactly the clip. We'll watch it all together. You guys, we can chat, myself, you, Hyper, and of course the chat here. But let's take a look at this clip, and you guys obviously let me know what you think at the end of it.
Characters of what are the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have the love of comics like these older writers had. And all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? No, we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. People grew up, are growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving all these Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write Steve Rogers. What would Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers? That's not how it works. But that's again how most of these new people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is shit. Because we don't care what you would do, because we don't care about your life whatsoever. Just write a book, get paid for what you do, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story.
Dude, in my humble opinion, I don't think he's fully wrong. I at all. There's many points that he does address that I do agree with. Now, there's two sides to it, and like I said, Swagahaz really breaks it down. People in the chat here saying Glenn is awesome. Yeah, man. I agree with this guy. Chiapet talking about this dude doesn't make sense fully. All creators imbue a part of themselves in their writing. Like Superman is a representation of the Jewish creators. Chris Claremont changed countless characters. And yes, Yuri, no stress, bro. But back to the main topic here. And again, shout out to Comic Book Palace. Definitely go check them out. I don't fully disagree, man. Like he makes sense. Now there's obviously multiple sides to, this argument. But I will say I do find some of the stuff being written today to be not lackluster, but it does have that feel of like you could feel that the writers writing from their perspective rather than the actual character, and that I will agree that much. And it's not that it's fully wrong. I don't think it's totally wrong to do such a thing. You know what I mean? These characters want to embody these characters, and I guess this is their portrayal of how they would see themselves as Captain America and or whatever character it may be. But I don't think he's fully wrong. I'll go more in depth. Of course, I want to hear what you have to say first. I don't want to say anything you may have said, so feel free, hit the floor, and let's get into it.
Listen, without having I don't know these writers' personal lives and all that to figure out if they're actually putting their stuff out there on these characters. But all you got to do is just look at characters, quote unquote, evolution in the last decades in terms of. Now look, it's one thing when you take every creator will take certain creative liberties. They do that in movies as well. Like that's why you have a different Joaquin Phoenix version of Joker versus a Heath Ledger Joker, Nicholson Joker. Everyone likes those versions of Joker because they have their own flair to them from the director.
Yeah.
But it's completely different when you start changing fundamentals about the character. That is when that character becomes almost unidentifiable at that point.
Yeah.
It almost kind of quote unquote retcons certain things. Like I'll give you an example. Tim Drake, DC decided to do the swerve that they made him bisexual. There's no inkling of, and this is nothing against transgender, homosexual, that community. But I'm just saying, in his whole lineage as Tim Drake, Robin, he was never hinted at being bisexual, and then it just felt like something that people sometimes do almost like either as a shock value or just to kind of, because look, that hit bleeding cool articles and that was like the talk of the town, right? If you remember a few years ago. Same thing with, I think even Milton mentioned about Iceman, where they changed, like they switched up his orientation. So it just feels like sometimes like there's not much thought put into the lineage and the history of characters lately,
Yeah,
and it just feels like it almost feels like you kind of have to reacquaint yourself with some of these characters because it's like whatever happened in the Silver and Bronze Age for some of these characters
doesn't even matter.
doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's exactly where I say I'm in full agreement, right? It's got that feeling of, like you said, it's like we take on a new volume and it's like everything that happened prior to this character or whatever origins and so forth, it's almost like it just doesn't exist, right? They change as the writers change, so that it can come with pros and it can come with cons. There's two sides to that, and that's basically what I've been saying out the gate. But to what Glenn was saying, there's way more context too, guys. Like I said, definitely go check out Comic Book Palace. Definitely sub them up and go check out episode 42 of the Comic Book Palace Reborn. So, he goes more in depth, and there's lots more conversation as well. But it is important as well to go with the times, right? And Swaggle speaks on some stuff as well. Like I said, I've referenced it a few times now. How he breaks down, well, if this is what's happening in today's world, we're definitely going to shed some light on it because, yes, it's going to bring in some of that, you know, market. It's just what it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, the writer perspective, where I guess they put their religious belief or they'll put whatever it is into the writing. Sometimes it comes with pros and cons, and I think that Swaggle has also said something that it makes perfect sense that a lot of people that do want to write things in such a manner, kind of like what Glenn was saying, how like I don't care what your wife feels or whatever, like what you're feeling about a certain thing. I don't want you to write it your way. Um, a lot of these indie comics, Kickstarters, and stuff like that, like, dude, it's even like music, right? When people go mainstream and they sell out, what ends up happening? Everybody ends up going to the underground scene, right? That's
Yeah,
like that's what they want to hear.
they feel like they're going against the grain at that point.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think indie books, Kickstarters, and stuff like that, where writers have more freedom to do things, definitely is a fun spot to be in when it comes to reading because you get to see more wilder takes, better. There's just less chains, if that makes any sense, right? The writers can go fully AWOL if they want to. If you're a fan, and by all means.
But here's my thing though. Okay, like I kind of find like, okay, sometimes you kind of wonder, okay, creators have different ideas about characters, right? My thing is like, why not create original characters? But because the publishers know that certain characters already sell. Like look, Iron Man has like almost 50 plus years of goodwill behind him. Captain America has 50 plus years of goodwill behind him. So when you use a Captain America title, people are already you're gonna catch people's attention. So it almost feels sometimes like a bait and switch because you're hoping to read a Captain America. I'm just using Captain America as an example. I haven't followed Captain America. I'm just, for the sake of argument, you're buying a Captain America book, but it feels almost like a bait and switch because there's a lot of fundamental changes that are different from this version of Captain America than what Steve Rogers was in the last,
Yeah.
decade or so. But because people know that if you were to create an original character, it's going to take a lot more marketing to, bring that new character to a forefront. So it almost feels like they're taking the easy way and using these changes on characters that already exist because people know that those books will sell. Like Spider-Man books will always sell.
Yeah.
So it feels sometimes like a bit of a bait and switch.
Yeah, but Leftero's bringing up the point I said out the gate is there's multiple perspectives to this, right? And it is broad, right? The problem with this whole statement is it's too broad, and there is no doubt it's true, and in some cases, but not all.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is, yes, I agree with some of the stance on this one, but there are also other stances where I think it is necessary. So it again, this has gone all over the place. I'm seeing so many people doing their things, but I don't want to shed too much I don't want to break it fully down because there's a ton of great breakdown videos. Like I said, keep it thorough. Definitely go check out Thorough. Thorough did his thing. Swagahaz, definitely broke it down in such a great manner, and it's a short 20 something minute video. Um, but very interesting nonetheless. And I hate to say, well, not that I hate to say, it's the reality. I think many people have felt this way when it comes to comics, right? How many times do you see people say, "Oh no, I'm not reading this one because it's too woke," or "I'm not reading this one because I don't like the perspective of so and so," or whatever. Like,
Well, I think the whole term wokeness sometimes comes from the fact where things don't seem as organic as they
yeah,
should. In terms of, look, I'm not saying we shouldn't have changes in characters, but it has to be a lot more fluid and organic than the way things are written. Sometimes I feel like the changes are forced and shoehorned in, and it's almost like you could read it how it just feels like it's almost like the change for the sake of doing a change, and that's sometimes apparent when you're just reading. That's what I guess the whole wokeness comes from. But that's not to say that characters can't evolve and can't change or progress. But again, it has to come through the storylines and it has to make sense.
yeah,
It can't just, these changes just can't come out of the blue where
yeah,
there's no rhyme or reason behind it, because the last 20 years of that character makes no evidence of why he just changed the way he did.
yeah. And it's not changes like I don't know, like remember when Captain America dropped the Hail Hydra and people were up in arms,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I actually think that was a good change. And I know that's probably the minority here, but it went totally against everything Captain America stood for, completely at a
Mhm.
1000%. But it's kind of like Peter Parker saying, "With great power comes no responsibility. Fuck this shit." You know what I mean?
Or
And
like
really,
Batman starting to kill people.
yeah,
I'm not talking about the the Flashpoint Batman. I'm talking about the regular Batman.
yeah, yeah, no, exactly. So, um, you know, uh, changes where it's gonna make such an impact that people are gonna be like, "What the fuck," right? And it might flock people in. I'm totally for that. Like, I don't mind it. I'm
Mhm.
always down for something new and refreshing. That's for sure. But again, the statement being very broad, I could see a lot of people going at it on social media, man. Like, there's people standing on different perspectives, and some people even insulting the guy, man. Which he doesn't deserve any of that. Like, we just move along, man. If you don't disagree, that's my opinion. But
Yeah, it's, you could have you know, believe it or not, it is possible to have a civil conversation with while disagreeing with a guy.
yeah, dude, exactly. Paul saying the guy is a frustrated comic book owner. He just wants comics that sell. It's also his own personal preference. Nothing wrong with that. Exactly. To each their own, man. But yeah, very interesting. Like I said, I saw this going around. A lot of people talking about this, and it seems to be the big talk this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. If you guys are catching the replay, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. So definitely comment below, chat. I saw some of your comments already. You highlighted as many as I could, but I agree, man. Some people dropping their opinions, and like I said, and Leftero said as well. It's a pretty broad statement. So curious to see what everybody thinks. But yeah, Hyper. It was a great time. This is your second time on the
Yeah.
stream. But we've shared many, many good times, man, on the Comic Kingpins, of course. So, I mean, this isn't anything new to us. This was like just us hanging out at a comic book shop.
Yeah, this is, it's always refreshing, man, to talk with you. I mean, like you mentioned, we always talk like off air and all that. So to kind of, talk on air, it's kind of surprising we don't do this often. But honestly, it's been good to have to be back, man. And enjoyed the topics and enjoyed this conversation.
100%. But hopefully, we will see you more often. I know you've got your own channel. Your holiday season's coming around, man. So I don't know if you're gonna get too busy, or it might be a great time to maybe do some pre-records if you want to hit me up. I got some ideas with you, sir. Uh,
I actually have an idea myself for a pre-record, or it might be live. We'll talk backstage. We'll talk backstage.
Sounds good. But yeah, man, before we go, I saw Desired Comics, our brother here, swinging
I
by,
met him
man.
actually. I forgot to share this. I actually met him on Friday. I know you had your birthday thing going
Yep.
on, but yeah,
Yep.
he actually came into town. So always good to see Desire.
Yep. Dude, it's twice I miss him. So
Yeah.
hopefully next time he's in
He's gonna
Montreal.
start thinking that you're avoiding him at a certain point.
No. For sure. We will definitely hang out sometime soon. But Comic Vet swinging by. Appreciate you, Comic Vet. Chat, everybody who was here. Appreciate everyone who was hanging out with us. BC and Hyper on the same screen. Few things are better. Greatly appreciate the kind words, the love. Leftero's a great stream. Have a good night, everybody. Gear Up is on his way out. So appreciate you being here. And Derek saying, great show, boys. That coming from a 50-year-old. Yes, I'm so sorry. I feel like we were roasting people older than us. But regardless of the fact, guys, just a quick reminder. Next Sunday is going to be the last weekly comic wrap-up episode for 2023. But have no fear, I will be back. And I will give you guys a little insider. The first episode of 2024 is going to be with Red Hood. That's right. So if you
That should be a
guys,
dope one.
yeah, Red Hood is going to be kicking off 2024 with me. I'm looking greatly forward to that one. But Miss Bird City is going to be hopping on next week to wrap up with, 2023 with me. We'll go through the week, wrap up that week, of course. But I also have some other stuff I want to say. So those of you sticking around in the chat, I will be dropping some pre-records, especially around the holiday season. A lot of pre-records are going to be dropping, making their way, and there may be a surprise live show where we might give some stuff away. Who knows? Holidays are here. I'm feeling in a good mood, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's been sticking around. 2023 was the year I kicked off this channel. And it's been a fun one, man. So I'm looking forward to 2024, bigger things. And shout out to everybody here in the chat, everybody doing their thing. And, Spine Ticks, you got Paul, you got Dan Torre, you've got, Lefteros, who made a big, made some big moves in 2023. And I hope that, sky's the limit for 2024. Everyone doing great things. So looking forward to the next week's show. Go ahead.
Hold up. We can't end this off. Listen, you've been giving a lot of people their flowers. I'm gonna the next time I'm probably gonna see you on air would be in the new year. So I'm gonna give you your flowers right now. Listen, I always say that iron sharpens irons, and the company you keep is either gonna elevate you or they're gonna bring you down. I'm kind of glad to have people like BC in my circle. You don't know how much effort this guy puts on his shows. I mean, it clearly shows on his final product and all that. Honestly, you're one of the reasons why I actually branched off and started doing my own solo thing. You actually forced me to step my game up, and not to say that I'm trying to compete with you, but you need people like that to kind of level up. So honestly, dude, I give you a lot of credit for the stuff that I'm putting on YouTube, and you need people like that to challenge you, professionally, personally, and all that. So honestly, I'm hoping big things for you in 2024, so it pushes me to do bigger things as well.
Appreciate that, man. Dude, I look forward to all the stuff you're going to put out for sure, man. And we will definitely discuss more backstage, but I appreciate the kind words, bro. You are nothing but a brother to me. Derek in the chat on the way out, but Derek, chat, everybody, keep an eye out next week. Like I said, Miss Bird City is going to be here, so show some love. I will see you all next Sunday. Hyper, I know you got to take off to your local library, so I will let you go, sir. That being said,
At this time,
everybody have yourselves a great week. Buenas noches.
see you guys.